Tony Allen, the grandfather, Mr. First Team, all defense, whatever you want to call him, you got to call him one of the best Memphis has ever seen. His jersey retirement was a perfect representation of TA. It was all heart, baby. The retirement ceremony after the Grizzlies game with the Miami Heat. Allen, a six-time all-defensive team selection, went into the rafters alongside his core four teammates, Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol. Allen brought out quite the star power. Friends and teammates included Derrick Rose in the building, Vince Carter in the building, Paul Pierce, all coming together to celebrate the grandfather. Tony Allen was emotional, gave a speech that only he could, very unfiltered. It was a long time coming for Mr. First Team.
I took the other approach thinking that I wasn't gonna cry, but just so many built up emotions, fun emotions, to the point where it was like, yo, my body of work is getting acknowledged. Man, the crowd, Grizz Nation. Hell, I thought this was a playoff game tonight. We had so many seats filled, man. So that's just why I'm here, man. I love Memphis, man. This is everything I imagined. I wouldn't have never thought it would happen like this, but we here, man, and I'm feeling the support.
An emotional TA there. Jessica Benson still with me on the show. JB, you work for the Grizzlies now. I'm sure you've had plenty of opportunities to be around TA the last couple of years. What did you think about the retirement ceremony?
I thought it was the most authentic depiction of Tony Allen for one of the most authentic human beings that I've ever had the pleasure of being around. It was awesome. Like, I really think it was probably my favorite experience thus far of being inside FedexForum. And there have been playoff games, there have been epic jaw performances, there have been times where the Grizzlies beat the Thunder by 70-plus points, which was a wildly fun experience. But to just feel the emotions of the fans there, of the former teammates, of the people who means so much to him and who he has meant so much to, it was just a really special depiction of this beautiful relationship between Tony Allen and the city of Memphis and the Grizzlies organization that is the whole reason why number 9 goes into the rafters. Like, you look back at those core 4 years and Tony Allen was the heart. All heart, grit, grind becomes a motto, but it's so indicative of who he was in the infrastructure of that time in Grizzlies basketball and who he continues to be. Like, you see players like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bain and Jalen Wells and Santi Aldama, amongst many others, who came out and watched that ceremony too, because he has stayed connected through and through. He is a true ambassador of the organization, and that does not happen everywhere. Just like you don't have a Tony Allen jersey retirement everywhere. It's very specifically Memphis, and I say it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it 100 times. Like, if you're one of the people out there saying, do we just retire anyone's jersey these days? Like, you don't get it. And you never will, and that's okay. But everybody who lives here, who understands this, and who's like a real ball knower, they get it. Because when you see the responses from the other people outside of the Grizzlies around the NBA, be it from Russell Westbrook to Steph Curry to Klay Thompson to Kevin Durant, obviously Tony's former teammates in Boston like a Paul Pierce, a Kevin Garnett, like, this extends outside of Memphis. When you consistently are hearing, this is one of the best defenders that I ever had to go up against, or this was one of the best defenders that I ever had the pleasure of playing ball with, that's the legacy of Tony Allen. And you saw that all here at the jersey retirement.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I haven't been here as long as you, but when you get into this town and you begin to learn about the Grizzlies and just what they mean to a city, one of the first names that is going to come up, the first thing they're going to say is the core 4, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the first names that are going to come up is Tony Allen, because he was the heart, the soul of that team in a way that I think Zach Randolph was probably the attitude of that team. And Mike Conley might be the brains, and I don't know where Marc Gasol might just be the glue. I don't know which one it is.
The enforcer or the glue. Zebo was also the enforcer.
Right, yeah, there are a lot of enforcers on this team. But Tony Allen was the heart, and it was very evident. And I think one of the things that speaks volumes is just how important not only was he to Memphis, but Memphis to Tony Allen. It was the fact that he's still here.
Yes.
Like, Memphis is not a glitz and glamour town, and TA's from Chicago, right? He lived in Boston his first, several years in the league, won a championship there. He's beloved there as well. So for him to stay here and decide, I'm riding with Memphis, this is my town, I think says a lot. And just watching the people come and just speak so beautifully about him in a way that was just like, when you're a ball player, so many of these guys can score, right? That's what they do. But when it comes down to Tony Allen, it was always going to be defense. And to your point, like, people are going to say he averaged 9 points a game. Like, why are we retiring Tony Allen's jersey? And it's like, you don't get it, dude.
Yeah.
You don't get it, and, like, it's okay that you don't get it because it's almost like you had to be there or you had to live here. I was at church yesterday, right? We had a guest pastor come on, and his first analogy of, like, the city of Memphis and where people can go and, like, how you kind of had to pick yourself up was just, like, Tony Allen. He used the retirement ceremony of Tony Allen
that says it all.
to epitomize, like, your walk with Christ and how you can, pick yourself up and how there's got to be faith in yourself and all those kinds of things. I just thought that was so Memphis because, again, you don't get it unless you are a part of the fabric of this city, and Tony Allen very much is. So it was really cool to see not only Derrick Rose and Paul Pierce come through, but Joakim Noah was there, Quincy Pondexter was there, Vince Carter, Lionel Hollins, but of course the core four was there, and we've already seen Zebo and Zach Randolph, Zebo and Marc Gasol get their jerseys retired as well. But here's them actually talking about being in the building and getting to see TA get his flowers.
I love it. It's been a long time, waiting for this, and everybody, celebrating TAs and his family and what he meant to the city, the work that he's doing now for the city as well and for this franchise. It's a great example that a lot of young guys should be watching.
It feels so good, going up there next to me and Big Spain number. But not only that, it wasn't given. It's all last. Tony Allen worked hard for this. Brought something to Memphis, a winning culture, team culture. Everybody come together, and be together as one. So very much well-deserved and grit and grind father, number 9. We in the Raptors, baby.
It is really incredible to me to see the bond that they still have. Obviously, Zebo and Tony, they do the Out the Mud podcast, right? And so they hang out all the time. But for Marc Gasol, he lives in Spain now. He flies over. Mike Conley would have been there had there not been, like, crazy severe weather and all those kinds of things. It's cool to me to see how the core four is very much still a fabric of this city and a fabric of each other's lives. One thing I really enjoyed as well was the unfilteredness of TA's speech, and I wish I could, like, just let y'all watch it. If you haven't, go to Grind City Media on their YouTube. They have the whole thing, but to listen to him just like, F I'm here,
be him.
S word here, but be himself. I feel bad for his wife trying to, like, keep him on the stage,
Listen,
which was hilarious to
we
me.
have all been there before.
Yeah.
And by we all, I mean those of us who are wives to
I wouldn't
men
even say
who
that.
get
I would
really
say, like,
excited, or friends.
significant
It could be
others.
anyone.
Right,
it could be
yeah.
anyone where they're feeling it and they're going and going and going, and you're like, all right.
Right,
it's
you
time.
gotta kind of
But, like,
shepherd them a little
He
bit.
could have gone forever and always, and every person in that arena would have been holding on to every word that he was saying. And he's so funny. I think that gets lost in some of the Tony Allen legacy. He's one of the funniest players that we've ever had. Like, we often use the word like, you need that perfect amount of crazy. And that's true too, especially on the defensive end. But he's also hysterical. And that's now come out through his podcast, that came out in part of his speech that then, like, trended into roast, like, territory.
Yeah,
Well, he's roasting,
got in there.
he's thanking everybody, but also giving a little, like, I remember when you wore an armband. Who do you think you are? Kobe Bryant. I remember when you were dancing to, you should have been dancing to La Bamba, but you're from Memphis, Marc Gasol, and you're listening to 3 6 Mafia. It was just a joy to be able to listen to him. And like you said, it would have been awesome for Mike Conley to be able to be there. The plan was for him to be there. But then to see him rep the Tony Allen hoodie the next day at the Timberwolves game, and for the Timberwolves to tweet grit and grind era, like, that says everything. That's just the ultimate respect. I think that's what this all comes back to, is there's a huge level of respect for Tony Allen, not just in the city of Memphis. There's a lot of love here, but the respect extends outwards of anybody who follows the NBA.
Yeah, and I thought it was really incredible how, when I did a package on this, for those of you guys who are local news, Jessica knows what that means. But I did a story on it about the entire ceremony, and one thing that I really pointed out was how TA decided, like, on a night that was about him, right? About giving him his flowers, about giving him the, love and respect that he's earned over, however many years. He really took the time to celebrate his mom, celebrate everybody in his family that was on the stage with him, celebrate every single one of his teammates or people who know him well that was on the stage with him. The front office executives gave Chris Wallace a big hug. His old Oklahoma State coach was up there. I just thought it was so cool that he had a story or some kind of something.
An anecdote.
Anecdote, yeah, for everybody that was on that stage. And when I talked to him after the ceremony, he was kind of saying that I wouldn't be myself if I didn't have each and every one of those people around him. And I think that said just so much about who TA is and the kind of person that he has become and the kind of person that he epitomizes that Memphis can really get behind. So I had something, I hadn't really planned this, but I thought about it as I got in here. So we
exciting.
got Zebo right here, right?
Okay.
Got the Zebo wrestling doll. I'll let you hold that.
Thank you.
So we have a whole lot of knickknacks, paddywhacks, give a dog a bone
You
here
do.
on the stage. But we didn't have any TA representation, which I felt like was
So you got the
really
shirt.
lacking. And so I'm going to close this. This is the Chris Vernon show of the Grind City Media, the original all-heart grit and grind shirt that they brought back in here for retirement ceremony. Give me back on cam 3. Let me let y'all see this all nice and close up. All-heart grit and grind. TA was nice enough to come on the show with us this week, or last Monday, for the retirement ceremony. Gave us a lot of his really cool time, and we just really appreciated him. So you're going to live up on the stage here for the rest of this show.